The university be obligated to provide food to people who've taken over a building?
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
But they did put themselves in that very deliberately in that situation and in that position. So it seems like you're sort of saying, we want to be revolutionaries. We want to take over this building. Now, would you please bring us some food and water?
Nobody's asking them to bring anything. We're asking them to not violently stop us from bringing in basic humanitarian aid.
They're stopping the delivery of food.
We are looking for a commitment from them that they will not stop it
but
violently.
They haven't stopped it yet.
I don't know to what extent it has been attempted, but we're looking for a commitment.
And why should the university
for another edition of Ask Michael Eline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. Out there, what's up with all my dimensions and dementites and team DLZ out there? How you guys doing? I appreciate you guys joining me. I saw this hilarious video today, and you know, I've been buried, so I haven't had a lot of time to do my live streams the last couple days. And as you guys all know, thanks to Chevy, we're going to get that yellow belt for Gunner, hopefully, if he earns it. So tonight I have to bounce out of here prior to 1830 hours. So I'm going to try to leave you guys with some laughs. It's not going to be your typical auditor cop watch type of a video because, again, I'm a pretty dynamic person and I want to share something with you. As you saw at the very beginning, I want to break it down for you guys. Yeah, what's up, guys? Hey, Ralph Riley, James Forbes, Diesel, Chevy, all the cool people. James Forbes, thanks. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Like and subscribe button. Do that. Do it now. Move. Hurry up. Hurry up. Do it now. Move. Give me some push-ups. Mountain climbers. 1, 2, 3. All right. So you saw the representative of the pro-Hamas, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel group. And of course, I'm being told that it's violent for me to say anti-Jewish, but it's okay for me to say anti-Israel. So, and that's coming from the woke mob people that are reaching out to me. I'm not really quite sure. I guess I'm too old to understand all this stuff. But maybe somebody can help me understand. So basically what she is saying is, well, first of all, let me give you a foundation. So Columbia University, as well as USC, apparently are canceling their graduation ceremonies because apparently George Soros is funding pro-Hamas, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, terrorist type organizations who are protesting on the campuses. And apparently they're students. Many people are saying they're really just Antifa, who are the people who used to be Bernie Sanders supporters in the Occupy Wall Street, and they became Antifa. That's the word on the street. I'm not really sure. I just have some pretty good connections, and I'm pretty sure that's probably who they are. But anyways, they're saying George Soros is funding them, and I wanted you to pay attention. I wanted you to pay. Because honestly, Ralph, I don't even think they don't know the difference between anti-Zionist or anti-Israel, but we can talk about that another time because I want to stay focused on this because it has to do with rule of law. And we saw the other day in the video that I did, I think her name was Cooley. She's a district attorney in New York, where the cop, literally follows her home, walks into her garage. Ma'am, I really need to give you this ticket, you poor baby. She's like, F you, I'm a prosecutor. So we kind of get the idea. So this kind of comes on the heels of that. And and sort of the academic institutions and the people who are in higher power, how they think. And this is probably a young version of that district attorney, but on the opposite side of the political spectrum, because this one is obviously a hardcore leftist Democrat. This one here, hold on a minute. Yeah, this one, obviously a hardcore leftist Democrat, and she hates Israel, and she is probably ethnically Jewish herself, according to at least one of my people who texted me a minute ago. And they're saying, like, why would a Jewish person be so against Israel? I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that when I became a lawyer, I worked for a lot of Jewish people, and I never had a problem with them. So I don't want to get too far off the path, though. So what she's saying is she wants GrubHub to be able to deliver food to all these people who have illegally taken over a college campus, and the police are trying to remove them, and they won't let Jews onto the campus. And I guess they're preventing Jewish professors from entering the campus. And obviously, me as a civil libertarian, that bothers me because I understand the whole concept of the pendulum. And I saw the problem is a lot of the Gen Zers and millennials don't understand what the Nazis did. I mean, they came in and they slowly started saying, you know, the Jews are privileged and you're oppressed. The Jews are oppressors and you're oppressed. That was the narrative. And that's exactly what critical race theory is. It's exactly like it is critical race theory. There's no difference. And so when you tell people that one person's an oppressor and you try to convince the other side that they're oppressed, well, the bankers are the ones who win. At least that's what a lot of people say online. So that gives you a little bit of a foundation. So we see that we have this young woman, and she's really upset that the university and the police won't let GrubHub bring food. And so she's not saying that she's being denied the ability to eat or anything like that. She's just saying they won't bring us our GrubHub, and that's violent. And that was the point of this exercise today, guys, because this is going to be a quick one. Yes, James. Yes. So the new thing with the whole woke mob movement is to declare anything they disagree with to be violent. And me being a parental rights attorney and having worked on several cases against various school districts where children are mutilated, I always find the same fact pattern. You have the rainbow flag teacher, and the kids it's usually a single mom who's just barely making it. And the kid gets under the wing of the teacher. And a couple of months later, the kid starts acting different. And the parents are trying to figure out what's going on. And they can't quite figure it out because no one's saying anything. Kid shows up at school and all the other kids are calling your son, him, her, they, or whatever the pronoun is. And they start using the girl's restroom, and nobody knows what's going on because the parents aren't being told. And so people are really worried about that. Chino Valley School District had a real problem with that. It's been happening in Temecula as well. So all the people who try to tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist, I'm a lawyer, and I know for a fact this is absolutely happening. So what's happening is these kids are being groomed, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many others, to think that they're something they're not. And the beneficiaries are doctors who do plastic surgeries, et cetera, et cetera. And how it's happening is if the parent refuses to affirm the new chosen gender, I mean, after the coaxing of all these teachers who clearly are trying to sexualize your kids in the public school system, wake up, people, wake up. What's going on is the school district, thanks to Gavin Newsom and Bonta, are saying, oh, well, it's violent not to affirm the gender of your kid. So because I'm a lawyer and I know that I'm going to get a bunch of people saying, oh no, you're a conspiracy theorist for saying that. Just really quickly going to show you. So this is a Reddit link, but it's the segue into, it's a segue into what we're going to talk about. So basically what it says is there's a bill in California that was seeking to label as child abuse if parents refuse to affirm their child's chosen gender. And then the bill, if you guys want to research it, for all the people who want to pretend like I'm a conspiracy theorist, it's called number 957. It specifically is saying that if you refuse to affirm your child's selected, your minor child who's incapable of forming consent, if you refuse to affirm their gender, we're going to have Child Protective Services take your children away. And I have represented people in cases like this. This is not made up. It's reality. This is really happening, guys. So I don't want to get too far off the beaten path again. So I'm just showing you that there is a movement. There is a movement afoot in the woke states and academic institutions to declare anything that these people disagree with as violent. And because violent is the exception, everybody, to free speech. And they're trying to make us more like, according to many, like Europe or Germany or England, where if you say anything bad about any of these other people, you can be arrested and thrown in prison. They flood their country with people that are trying to kill them and hurt them. And if you say anything bad about that, you can be actually locked up. And that's in other videos that I posted. So there is no free speech. I mean, in Germany, if you flip someone off while you're driving your car, you can have your driver's license taken away forever. I think it's like $15,000 just to get a driver's license there, because of climate change, right? But we all, a lot of people think it's because they're trying to control people and they want to lock them down because they want to control people and do things like that. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Mikey B. I agree. I mean, of course, I'm from a different generation, so I'm trying to be open-minded about all this stuff, but would you want your daughter playing football with a dude who thinks he's a girl? No thanks. But let's see here. So anyways, we see this big movement right now to let people like this, whoever she is, she's probably a future Biden cabinet official based upon what I'm seeing. But if you look at what she's saying that, well, first of all, the reporters pushed back against her. Her parents are paying $86,000 a year, and they're saying, "What do you mean basic humanitarian aid?" Well, she's saying, "Well, GrubHub, we ordered stuff, and they're being violently stopped from reaching the encampments." Hopefully, you guys see that. See that violently stopped. I mean, it's just like really funny, right? Hold on, I'm going to try to expand this for you because it's just like the best comedy of the day I've seen so far. Hold on a minute. This is great. So she's saying, this woman over here, a lot of people think people like her are complete whack jobs, by the way. Put it in the comments if you think that this young girl is a whack job. Give me a bunch of ones if she's a whack job. Give me a bunch of twos if her parents are whack jobs for letting her go to this school. But she says that they're being violently stopped from reaching the encampments at Hamilton Hall. And and there's no evidence, of course, that anyone's been violently stopped. I think that probably all of her friends, the wealthy little punks who are going to Columbia, are worried they won't get their GrubHub today. So I don't know, put it in the comments if you think that's what's going on. And then the reporter, this is really unusual because, most reporters are usually going to support the BlackRock agenda, the DEI agenda, that, Israel's bad, Hamas and Muslims are good. Look at the United Kingdom. That's their agenda. And this reporter said, "It seems like you're saying we want to be revolutionaries, but to take over this building, but now will you please bring us food?" So, the reporter's saying, "Hey, you say you want to be revolutionaries, but now you're upset that that the people you're revolting against won't bring you food." Wow. I mean, talk about someone who never learned critical thinking. And that's in one of my other videos. I talk about this, about how the Rockefellers started our public education system in this country, and they foisted it upon our country. And it's basically copied from the Prussians, and that was designed to make sure they could control the thoughts and minds of their population so they would never retreat again if the king forced them into battle. So you see the same thing happening here in real time, right? So a lot of people are saying she's just a political pawn, but the problem that many people are having, that I'm dealing with, is that it looks like Joe Biden wants to bring more of these types of people into our country. The Biden administration is contemplating bringing so-called Palestinian refugees into the U.S. These are people, I guess, who lived in Gaza or whatever. So we obviously know what way they're going to vote, right? But the problem is with me is that look, I am a lawyer, so I have a lot of friends who are Jewish, and they were lifelong Democrats, and I keep asking them, why do you guys keep voting Democrat when your party is doing this? And you know what? A lot of them are saying we're not voting Democrat anymore. So I'm just sharing that with you because I was just confused. So it looks like at least some people are starting to wise up. Now, so who's paying for this? I mean, obviously someone's pushing this agenda. This isn't like some like automatic thing, right? Like we know that someone's funding this. Obviously, this is not, these kids aren't even smart enough to know how to pick their own nose without 86 grand from, give me a bunch of ones if you think that girl there is intelligent enough to even put a header on a pleading if she was hired as a lawyer. I don't think so. But so a lot of people are saying, so who's behind this? And so what I'm hearing from my conservative Jewish friends is that it's George Soros. And what they're telling me is that George Soros, although he was a Hungarian Jew, he helped the Nazis round up fellow Jews. And I was like, are you kidding me? How could that be? Well, to save his own skin. And so what I'm hearing is that he's like self-hating because he hates himself for what he did. And so he wants to destroy the world like one of these crazy people. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I'm hearing. So I did some research and I just wanted to share it with you on George Soros. And this is what I found. So they're saying, let me see, what news story is that? So New York Post is saying, make sure you can see this. The New York Post is alleging that, let me see if I can find this thing again. Dag nabbit, where is it? Where's that New York Post article? Hurry up, move. Okay. Is alleging that George Soros is paying student radicals who are fueling a nationwide explosion of Israel-hating protests. Okay. And they're saying that George Soros and hard left acolytes are paying agitators who are fueling an explosion of radical anti-Israel protests. And they're saying that students took over Columbia University's Morningside campus lawn last week and have mushroomed nationwide. Of course, we know, like I think my niece had her graduation at USC canceled because of this. And so there's copycat tent cities popping up in Harvard, Yale, Ohio State, all over the place, right? All the far left, radical left-wing, communist-run universities are being taken over, according to many. And they're being funded by a network of nonprofits that are ultimately funded by, among other people, billionaire George Soros, according to the New York Post. Now, you'll remember that the New York Post, I think they broke the Hunter Biden laptop story, and the CIA and FBI immediately came out and said, oh, that's fake, that's not real, and told people at Twitter to ban anybody's accounts who posted the true story. And then after Biden got elected and a bunch of CIA officials lied and said they believed it was Russian disinformation, but about a year later, they finally all came out and said, oh yeah, we knew it was real the whole time. So just keep that in mind. It's really hard to trust the news media, but that's the same. Don't trust what you're hearing from the mainstream press. Take a look at this. The New York Post broke this story, so it's probably true, right? Like anything that Silicon Valley or the federal government says is fake news is probably true. That's what we've been, critical thinkers have finally discovered that. So just wanted to share that with you. Now, the next thing that I want to go over with you really quick, they're saying that George Soros hates Jews and people. And of course, we know that the mainstream press carries water for Soros because they're all far left as well. So let's take a look at, so I did a Google to find out, this is a Bing actually, it's kind of funny. So I did this Bing search, said, did George Soros help the Nazis kill Jews, right? So that's the search. So what do? They give you this bullshit response. with all these nonsense fact checks that say George Soros never helped the Nazis confiscate property. Follow me? And based on his own words, that's not true. We're going to watch that in a minute. But so you do a search on Google or George Soros about anybody that they support, and immediately it throws up a response, just like fact checks that have nothing to do with what you're trying to find out. Like a fact check will take a story and say that your story says something that you never even wrote about, then they'll say it's false and use that as an excuse to kick you off of their site. So that's the typical Operation Mockingbird type of a response. So now take a look at this. So I do this search. Let me make sure I can get back where I was, guys. I hate this sometimes. We're going to find it. So I do this search. It says George Soros helped the Nazis kill Jews. You guys see that? Hopefully it's big enough. Give me a bunch of ones if you can see that. Do I need to blow up the screen? Just tell me if I need to blow up the screen, because it's really important, because I want you to see how biased. I'm just going to blow it up. So the search is George Soros helped Nazis kill Jews. And what do you get? Fact check. Did George Soros help the Nazis confiscate property? No, George Soros, of course, Snopes. I mean, might as well just put Democratic National Convention for Snopes. I mean, these people might as well have a hammer and sickle flag there instead of that weird arrow thing. So here's they say claim George Soros was a member of the SS or a Nazi collaborator who helped the Nazis confiscate property from Jews. And they're saying, no, that's false. So just hear me out. No, that's false. So just so you know how totally corporate bought and paid for all these fact checkers are, they all say the same thing, right away. There's no free thought there. So how could it be even true? Do any of these people have a mind of their own, right? Obviously, they're being fed this information from the great Leviathan. So now we're going to go into the next video, an actual video here. So I want you guys to pay close attention. So we just saw that the mainstream press said George Soros never confiscated or helped the Nazis confiscate property from the Jews. We saw that, right? So now I want you to see what George Soros said with his own words.
My understanding is that you went out with this protector of yours who swore that you were his adopted godson.
Yes.
Went out, in fact, and helped in the confiscation.
His protector was a Nazi collaborator.
I mean, that sounds.
Hold on. His protector was a Nazi collaborator. So we're going to go ahead and go back and listen to this again. His protector was a Nazi collaborator who pretended like George Soros was not Jewish.
Who swore that you were his adopted godson.
Yes.
Went out, in fact, and helped in the confiscation of property from the Jews.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, that sounds like an experience that would send lots of people to the psychiatric couch for many, many years. Was it difficult?
Not at all. Not at all. Maybe as a child you don't see the connection.
Okay, so let's go back now, because I just want to share something with, because this all ties into this whole Columbia University thing. This guy literally helped the Nazis, according to his own words, and all the fact checkers are saying that's not true. He never said that. So let's go back really quick and look at, because look, I'm just a lawyer, right? But I'm pretty good at legal research. Let's take a look at this. Okay, let's scroll down. What do you see with your own eyes? It says, no, George Soros was not a Nazi collaborator. So what they're doing is they're hinging this whole thing on the fact that since he was 13, after all, he basically was incapable of consent, like all the same kids that Soros say should be able to choose their own gender when they're kindergartners, right? So I'm exaggerating, but really, guys, I mean, come on, let's at least be consistent. And that's why a lot of people are saying that leftism and wokeism is basically a faith-based religion, because it's a hodgepodge of all these different philosophies, like Queers for Palestine. Let's talk about that really quick. So we know that the Palestinians throw homosexuals off of roofs. So when you see Queers for Palestine on Columbia University campus, you're just scratching your head. The whole world wonders, like, people are actually paying money to send their kids to these schools. Like, what's going on here? So basically, let's take a look at Soros, or not Soros. I literally called Snopes Soros. That's funny. Wow. Give me a bunch of ones if you think that was appropriate. And give me a bunch of twos if I'm boring you, because I really find this stuff interesting. I know I'm not going to get thousands of people in the chat, but it's kind of a big deal. This is stuff that really matters, guys. So look at this. So it says here that he has been the frequent target of smear. Now, could you imagine Snopes saying, Donald Trump, a philanthropist and someone who supports the Second Amendment and free speech, has been a victim of frequent smear campaigns. So you can already see who they hold water for. All right. So let's just go ahead and they're saying here, the claim, Soros, a Jew, was a Nazi sympathizer and collaborator. And they're saying that he was only 9 years old when the war broke out and 14 when the Nazis surrendered. And they're saying it's an absurd claim that surfaced in 2016. And here's what they're fact checking. They're fact checking that Soros served in the Schutzstaffel, which means the Schutzstaffel, the stormtroopers in Deutsche Schutzstaffel. Yeah, like stormtroopers, what it means. And hold on one second. Ein Moment. There's two examples. They're saying George Soros, an SS National Socialist, served under Hitler, right? So they're literally fact checking something that you're not even asking. So just look at these dumbasses. So if you are someone who went to public school, modern public school, or a college university, you would believe just by reading this, the title, that George Soros didn't help the Nazis confiscate property, because they're fact checking whether or not George Soros was a Nazi SS officer. And they're saying he was only 9, so that didn't happen. But the search that you did is George Soros helped the Nazis confiscate property, yes or no? Or George Soros helped the Nazis kill Jews. And what do you get back? A story that's complete fabrication that has nothing to do with what you're asking. So that's why I thought this was an important exercise. And since I didn't have a lot of time, I figured this would be a good story. So okay, so somebody put here, this is George Soros. Now, how much do you want to bet that this guy, PHX Ken, probably works for George Soros or one of these woke movements? Because that's what they'll do. They'll put up a bullshit story, and then they'll fact check it and say, oh, the radical right-wingers are all saying this. This is very typical of what they do, guys. Now, hold on. Let me just open this up a little bit more here if I can. All right. So take a look. It says George Soros, remember this. He is a Nazi, right? Look at this guy. So all right. So let's keep going. The allegation continues to make social media rounds. George Soros with his SS uniform. See that? Let's keep going. So George Soros George Soros was a Nazi collaborator. Let's do this together. It is also claimed that George Soros survived the German occupation of Budapest by becoming a Nazi collaborator. George Soros helped the government confiscate lands of his fellow Jewish friends and neighbors. And then they're saying, so in their orange, they say that his father bribed a government official to take his son, blah, blah, blah. Now imagine you are a Jewish, blah, 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 your fellow Jews, you're pretending to be a Jew, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. I don't want to question the 14-year-old Beck. So this is what Beck said here. Okay, this is apparently a quote from Beck. And Beck is saying, I don't want to question Beck. Of course, Beck disingenuous. Okay. See that? Beck Okay, guys, do you really think that Snopes is like unbiased? This is complete bullshit. Just come on, guys, wake up. Right, let's read the rest. Disingenuously stated during a series of broadcasts devoted to painting Soros as an evil puppet master of the left. I would have liked to question the 80-year-old man, but he's never regretted it. So, and then they say that Beck posted the 60-minute interview that I just posted, which for some reason I'm not able to highlight. There we go. And of course, conspiracy theorist InfoWars also, since conspiracy theorist at InfoWars said something, well, then clearly it must be fake news. And that's how they do it, guys. It's ridiculous. So let's just scroll down a little bit more. So they're saying that they're just kind of like glossing over what he said. And they're saying it's just a bunch of right-wing nonsense, even though he said it with his own mouth. And then they make up a bunch of excuses. You have to imagine he just was young and poor guy. He wasn't a Nazi collaborator. It didn't meet the definition. It didn't meet the definition of collaborator. See, that's how they do it. The guy collaborated with the Nazis, guys. He helped confiscate property from Jews. He said that with his own mind, and he said he's not even guilty about it. So that's what he said. So I don't want to spend a whole bunch more time on this, but I just think it's kind of ridiculous. And, for the people out there who hate Jewish people or whatever, just remember that if you think that way, when the pendulum swings back, they're coming for you, So the best thing is to try to live in harmony with everybody, but don't invite people into your country that want to destroy you, like these Hamas people. Hold on, I got to show you guys something. This is unbelievable. I may have shown this to you earlier, but this guy is literally contemplating Biden's contemplating bringing these people into our country. Like these people, they did like paragliders and they went into Israel and they massacred hundreds of Israeli families. Look, I have friends who live over there. This isn't like made up CGI. They went across, they killed their babies, they beheaded them, they threw them in ovens. This is real stuff, guys. This really did happen. And why would you want to bring these people into your country? It's already bad enough we have a southern border where they're just walking across. But like our own government, like condoning bringing people like that into our country. Look, those people that we're bringing across may be refugees, but they're the ones who elected Hamas as their leaders. You really want somebody like that? We've already seen like Ilhan, Imar, or whatever her name is in Minnesota. They just changed the Minnesota flag or whatever to be like a Muslim flag. I mean, how is it that Christians can't do that, but other religions can't? Just doesn't make any sense. Anyways. So I don't want to get too far off the beaten path here. Want to make sure I've shown you everything that I want to show you. Okay, so yeah. So the rumor is that Soros is the one who's funding all this stuff. And that's why I want to talk to you about this. So the rumor is that George Soros is funding all of these pro-Palestine demonstrations. And when you go through it, you see that Snopes is like, no way, Jose. It's just a rumor. So you see how they carry water for him. And we know that nonprofits. Oh, by the way, I want to get back onto the violence thing. So we talked a little bit earlier about the violence thing and how the left is using violence as an excuse to steal your kids. And, well, according to parents who have had their kids stolen from them by CPS, who refuse to affirm their child's so-called gender after they went to a public school and all of a sudden their kid decided they were a different gender. I wonder why that happened. That what ended up happening here, let me get back over here. So the way they're doing it, guys, is by weaponizing free speech. And we heard the girl at Columbia University specifically say that it's violent to not let them deliver us our food. And that is the code word for a woke mobster. Anything they disagree with is violent. And California public school teachers, and in most states, teachers and other school employees are mandatory reporters. So if you don't know what a mandatory reporter is, you're in real trouble. But a mandatory reporter means that a teacher is legally obligated to report abuse or neglect. And what they're saying is it's child abuse not to affirm your child's gender. So the beneficiaries of this are the plastic surgeons and doctors who are injecting your kids with hormones and steroids. Now, Europe finally has come out and admitted that this whole thing is a joke. These are people who are suffering from dysphoria, and they need to be treated, not affirmed. Like someone who's suffering from a mental illness or dysphoria needs to be treated for their illness, not have their penis chopped off or have, have their boobs cut off when they're still a kid, or injected with hormones that are absolutely life altering. You inject a girl with hormones, her jaw is going to straighten out. She's going to start growing facial hair. Look, I'm a lawyer, guys. In personal injury, I know medicine. The people saying that this reversible, oh, it's a puberty blocker. That's bullshit. It's not a puberty blocker. It destroys your endocrine system. So, oh, good to have you, King Braveheart. It looks like I don't have the biggest audience tonight. Look, it looks like when I don't talk about bad cops and stuff, I'm losing a lot of people. But I'm super, super grateful that I have at least a core audience of 29 viewers, because at least I know there's 29 people who are highly, highly educated and they know what's going on. So let's get back into it. We have a situation right now where many of our college campuses have likely been taken over by direct or indirect influence of George Soros. We know, based upon George Soros's own words, that he helped confiscate property from Jews. And we know that he doesn't like Israel. We know that he is a wanted fugitive, allegedly, in the United Kingdom, Russia, and many other places, because he likes to destroy economies based upon his own words, allegedly. So I recommend that you people follow the money, and you'll see that there are just some people out there who are just evil and Luciferian in the way that they think. And we've seen an example today of violence, of woke violence. And their definition of violence is anything they disagree with is violent. And remember, you can't yell fire in a crowded movie house because that's violence. There's certain things that are violent. They're hate speech. It's violent. So what they're trying to do is silence you by declaring anything that they disagree with is hate speech or violent. And if you disagree with their designs on your children, you're violent, you're a bad parent, and you need to have your kids taken away. And that's what a lot of parents who have been contacting me are complaining about. And I wanted to put it out there, and then just take some comments from the sidebar there to see what you guys think. And I'm going to start looking right now for anything anybody has to say. I'm super grateful that you guys showed up. It's not like when I go on Delete Laws and I get like 500 viewers or 600 viewers. I'm like, wow, how did I get all these people? But I always want to count on the fact that I am an elite guy, being a Marine and all. And I'm assuming that all you guys are elite too, and that we can triple our strength because we're so intelligent. So let me see here. So unless there is actually a fire. Okay, Donna, I stand corrected. You're right. Dr. Donna Walter. Hopefully you guys got the idea though. So you can't yell fire in a crowded movie house unless there's really a fire. Gosh, you're killing me right now. Kevin, thanks for coming. Yes, Chowder, please. My goodness, Chowder, I got to get that off my screen. Get behind me, Satan. Gonna get me divorced. Don't be doing that again, girl. Woo. All right, so let me cool down a minute here. All right, let's see here. Yes, Dr. Donna. So I believe in the Soviet Socialist Republic of Canada today that the opposition party member told the guy, what's the guy? Castro's son, Trudeau, told Justin Trudeau that he was wacko for his crazy, left-wing woke nonsense policies that are destroying Canada. Of course, China loves it, but regular people don't. That he's a wacko. And let's see here. So he was actually thrown out of Parliament today by the parliamentarian because he engaged in hate speech. So that's hilarious. By the way, guys, look, I've been getting some blowback. I guess I'm not lawyerly enough for some people, but I guess you're used to like the canned lawyer thing or whatever. But I'm also an American, and I love my country. And I will always consider myself to be a Marine before I'm a lawyer because I wanted to be a lifer. And so don't hold it against me all the time that I have to act like a Marine or a lawyer. I am acting like a lawyer. I'm a lawyer, and I'm acting like myself. And I love my country more than anything. And I love America. And I don't like it that the ACLU and all of these other left-wing organizations have basically destroyed our country almost overnight in less than 2 years. And so I'm trying to give you guys an idea of what's going on so you can understand, especially the younger crowd, that your fact checkers are full of garbage. It's all nonsense. It's not real. This whole DEI thing is a joke. You don't promote people based upon their skin color. You promote people based upon their real equity, their merit. So I'm going to hire you. For example, I used to go door to door and beg people to let me shine their shoes when I was a kid, wash their cars. And eventually people would hire me because they liked my personality. But then ultimately they kept me because of my merit, because they knew they could rely on me, that I was trustworthy. I wouldn't steal their change from their car. They knew that I would use the newspaper with the Windex on their windows because they didn't like using regular paper towels. See, a lot of you guys are older, so you understand where I'm coming from. When we were younger, we had to do chores. We had to be industrious, and we would go around and try to find work. Nowadays, I won't let my kids go door to door. They might, because people are such lowlifes now. But back then, it was just unheard of. You wouldn't mess with someone's. It was very rare. Let's put it that way compared to how it is today. So let me see here. Yes, doctor, I've been told. Yeah. Well, we know that in California, they passed legislation to silence doctors who disagreed with the pharmaceutical industry. Remember that? And they had to pull the bill. They had to pull the bill because they were canceling all these medical licenses of doctors who just wanted to give their patients ivermectin because it works. And now we know that the CDC and the FDA, because they have the revolving door employment with big pharma, they went ahead and scrubbed, like all the negative articles about ivermectin where they tried to say it was a horse pill. But so far, CNN, MSNBC, none of them have issued retractions. No, nobody has, because we now know that there was always a viable way to control the symptoms, and it was ivermectin and oxychloroquine and zinc. Right, guys? Right. So just remember that. Never trust and always verify. And so they want you, the video we did yesterday talked about how Gavin Newsom, they passed this new law where the schools get to decide what misinformation is. When we know that California is 1000% like far, far left woke. So of course they're going to tell the kids, that the Snopes article is the truth when you just saw a YouTube video that showed you what the real truth was. So thanks, Age Go. I appreciate it. I am kind of bummed that I don't have millions of people coming on the channel. Because I was hoping that people would be more receptive to patriotism and pro-America stuff. Not the pro-America stuff like Gulf of Tonkin, where they killed our family members and lied to us, but the pro-America stuff like we supported those troops because they thought they were fighting for us. That's what I'm trying to help you guys understand. Like, those people thought they didn't know that was a lie. Like, my dad didn't know that he was deceived into fighting. He didn't know. Like, you can't hold that against them. They love us. Those people fought for us. So that's what I try to teach you people. Yeah. So let me see here. Yeah, YouTube is fickle. So, anyways, I just want you guys to know that I'm trying to reach a different audience. I'm hoping we can get more people to understand that it's okay to love the military and not support what these scumbag politicians have been doing to us. Why haven't the CIA files been released yet about the death of Robert Kennedy? I mean, why is that such a problem, guys? I mean, if you really believe in transparency, oh, thanks, Chowder. I'll tell my wife, wow. Well, if I wasn't married, I would probably have you use torture cuffs on me with that based on your avatar. I'm just joking, guys. Please forgive me. So it says, how do you feel about the police using torture cuffs on protesters? Well, that's a good question. That is a good question. You know, I'm not a supporter of restraining anyone unless they're a threat or could be potentially violent or harm others. And when I say violent, I don't mean words. I mean physically being a threat. I think that there might be a better way to restrain people other than putting those torture cuffs. And that's only because as a lawyer, I've represented people who have had to have their hands amputated. I mean, I do believe you've got to find a way to restrain people who are potentially dangerous. I just don't think that putting a piece of metal and clamping it down, especially if the cop is a punk, which a lot of them are, it cuts off all the blood flow. And then eventually you're going to have your hand amputated. Minimally, you're going to have nerve damage. It's a real problem. So, and look, I know I always try to explain things like a lawyer. So many people have been complaining about that. Oh, you go into these diatribes, but it's the only way I really know how to explain things, because I always have to lay a foundation and I have to have logic and reasoning behind it. But I'm doing my best to do that. Hopefully, it looks like an OnlyFans profile pic. Yeah, is that a trick question, Chowder? Are you trying to set me up? Are you the chili the chili Stasi trying to report back to him that I support the use of torture cuffs? Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not going to happen. Because as a lawyer, honestly, I don't think that the current rendition of handcuffs are a smart move. Number one, for me, because I know I probably don't look like it to you, but I can bench about 275 and I try to train a couple days a week minimum. And like it pulls if I put my hands behind my back like that, it's going to pop my shoulders out of joint. And so it's a problem. And yeah, I disagree with it for a lot of reasons. And I think that most of the people who are getting locked up shouldn't even be locked up to begin with. Like Chili was saying, if you got expired tags and you're driving around, they can send a ticket to your house, right? Or the woke mob could send a social worker to your house. They don't need to pull you over and draw guns on you and shoot you in the head. There's better ways to deal with that stuff. I'm just saying. I mean, give me a bunch of ones if you think there's other ways of finding people than pulling them over in their cars. Give me a bunch of ones if you think that there's other ways to do it that might be safer. And give me a bunch of twos if you think that the government is amazing and they're doing a great job. Let's see here. Yes, and then we have another King Braveheart. You make me laugh. I think she looks pretty good if that's really her picture. I mean, she's lucky I'm married, because I'd be like, hey, what's up? So let me see here. Maybe attorneys at Eighth Amendment cruel and unusual punishment of today's options. Yeah. So Diesel, if you want to come on as a guest and talk about things like that, I'd love to have you come on. I mean, anybody who has something to share with me. One thing you have to understand, I'm not really chasing the likes and the subscribers. I'm not really chasing that. I'm trying to post things that matter to me because I think they should matter to you. We're $75 trillion in debt. We have these complete whack job kids on our college campuses, literally advocating for the destruction of Jewish people. There's no other way to look at it. And I saw this when I was a kid growing up. You know, I used to play with the World War II action figures, used to spend a lot of time at the library reading these books. Look, the Holocaust really did happen, guys. I mean, I know there's people who don't think it did and stuff, but You know, I actually knew guys who were in the SS. I knew guys who were concentration camp victims growing up, and they absolutely existed. And whether they died from being abused or whatever, millions of Jewish people died. They were starved to death. Uh, the German side blamed it on the Allies cutting off the food supply. I get it. But people were literally pulled out of their homes and put in concentration camps. And you hear the same exact thing. And I'll put this in other videos in the future from college students saying the same thing, that white people are their enemy, they're colonizers, they're evil, that they should be locked up and put in concentration. I'm going to show you guys videos of these college kids saying this stuff. And it's just like watching old NSDAP, the National Socialist Deutsches Arbeiterpartei videos and old footage. They did the same thing, to the Jews, and they're doing the same thing on these college campuses. And I'm just not going to stand for it. I get it if you don't like Zionism or whatever, but people are people. They're humans, and if they identify as being Jewish, they shouldn't be prevented from going on to their campus. And then, of course, the Hamas supporters and stuff. I'm not going to get into the whole thing about Palestine and Israel and Balfour Declaration and all that. I'm just talking at a human level. These are human beings, and you should treat them with utmost respect, because you're human too, and it shouldn't be happening. I got a 0 from Tyler Tomlinson. Well, thanks for all the ones, guys. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back to the torture cuffs. Grateful Dabs. Yeah. Having a panic attack, being in torture cuffs. And I agree, I don't even think that they know it's their policy to hurt you. It's just that is their tradition. And some traditions are bad. I mean, dungeons are bad. Not having people segregated in jails is bad. We see the blacks and whites and the Latinos self-segregate for survival. But when I'm talking about segregation, what I mean is crazy people from nonviolent to the violent. They should all be in separate areas. There shouldn't be a bunch of violent people locked up with nonviolent people. And the crazy people should not even be in jail. They should be getting mental help. It's crazy. It's just, to me. I mean, put it in the comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And also, if you guys can help me for my next episode, what you want me to talk about, because I'm going to have to wrap this up in a few minutes. Tonight is the night for Big Gunner, my son. It's been almost a year, I think, and we're going to go after his yellow belt tonight. So judo, which I think is the most complete martial art, because I think in a street fight, if you can throw someone and they land, they're not going to get up if they land on asphalt. Whereas with jiu-jitsu, which I'm also a BJJ practitioner, you don't have situational awareness once you're on the ground. So the idea is to throw your uke, or in this case, your opponent, and if they land on the asphalt or the concrete, if it's a self-defense situation, I believe that's the most efficient martial art, other than running, because the ultimate martial art is to run away. There's no reason for you to be fighting, guys. And then the second most ultimate is to make sure you're always carrying, because if someone's threatening your wife or your children, man, remember that you're worthless as a man if you're not able to know how to use a firearm and defend your family. You're worthless. Now, let's see here. Yeah, give me some ideas about the next shows where you would invite friends or family to come in, and then critique me too. Am I being too narrative? Am I being too opinionated? That's the kind of stuff I'd like to hear, even from the people that don't like me. Thanks, King Braveheart. She's super awesome. And, she was a legal secretary when I met her, and when at risk of getting in trouble. So I was trying to become a lawyer without law school, and I'd had a falling out with one of the other attorneys that I was studying under, and I only had a few days to find another lawyer so the credits would count, right? Because if you miss, you have a break. So I went into this law office, and it was all closed, like it was there was like a lobby area, and there's like windows. All of a sudden the window opens, this drop dead gorgeous Latina with this beautiful locks, like beautiful curly hair, and I just like instantly melted. I was just like, I couldn't even talk. And so she lets me in and I go interview with her boss. And he's like, well, you're going to work for free? I was like, well, it's not free to me, sir. You're teaching me. Like, that's worth millions to me. You'll never hear one of these girls like the Columbia University girls say that, because they've been brainwashed to think that they should be paid for me giving them their wisdom. It's ridiculous. You think about that. I mean, so I go in there, meet with them, come out, I go out into the hallway and I pick up my phone. I go, Dad, I found the woman I'm going to marry. And so I worked at that place for a couple of years, and she wouldn't date me, wouldn't even look at me, just like, who is this guy? Some loser. Like, I was taking the bus from Manhattan Beach all the way up to Wilshire. Ultimately, I bought a car for like $100 that had a lawn chair as a front seat, 5-speed Honda Civic, man. I'll never forget those days. By the way, all you guys out there, the joy is the journey, not the destination. Remember this. Your best memories are going to come from that journey. So just keep that in mind. So anyways, told my dad I found the woman I'm going to marry, and I married her a couple of years later. She finally agreed to go out on a date with me, and it was the most amazing, beautiful thing you could ever imagine. So thanks, King Braveheart, for pointing that out. I like sharing my personal stories with you guys too, because I think it's important for everybody to know there's hope. You know, I lost my father and I started a nonprofit, you know, and now I have this big connection with all these Marines all over the country. And we do these fundraisers for Marines and their families. So it's a really cool thing. So let me see here. All right. So I'm just going to look at the sidebar, and again, give me any comments for anything that you think that I need to do to have better shows, because I'm not going to have a lot of time. So I'm extremely busy right now, guys. I've got a lot on my plate. Again, I am a lawyer and I've got a full plate. So I've been really burning the candle at both ends since Chili got locked up, to try to give you updates about him and stuff. But now I kind of like doing it because I have a bunch of friends, and being a lawyer and all, I'm always kind of like isolated because of just work all the time. So it's kind of cool that I have you right in front of my computer. So if you guys have anything that you want to share, want me to share or talk about in the future, put it in the comments. Even if I close out, put it in the comment. New people that come, put it in the comments. Please make sure to like and subscribe too. It's really important because it helps these go up higher. And if you saw my interview with Max Bonilla, the outraged teen, the other day, you'll see that I'm trying to bring in young talent, people who love our country like we did, because we were taught to love America and pledge allegiance to the flag. We would have never thought of burning our flag. We would have never put a rainbow flag in a school. We would have only had one flag, the American flag. And so I try to bring these young people on who think like we did. They love their country, right? And they want to save it from these woke Marxist scumbags. And so I want to be higher up in the search engine so we can get people to come, and younger people. I want to get the Gen Zers and the millennials to come and see, you know, what a great, amazing journey this country was on, the trajectory we were on until Jekyll Island and the corporations pretty much just wiped us off the planet. But we still have a chance, guys. You know, if we can get some young, educated guys, it's not necessarily strength in numbers, but there's certainly strength in intellectual capital. And I'm hoping that we can all bring that to this channel together. So again, I'm going to close out unless I can see anything you guys want me to talk about. Let me just look in the sidebar really quick. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. And I am going to see Chili this Saturday. I guess he's on like 23-hour lockdown on Saturdays. So he's asked me to make a good faith effort to go and see him on Saturdays. I also reached out to the reporter in the case, in the story that today, just to thank him for being neutral and not throwing a bunch of I don't know if you saw on Delete Law's channel today that there was a story about Chili and him petitioning the judge, which I felt was really neutral and a fair I thought it was a fair story. So I reached out to him to say it was a fair story. Thank you. I represent Chili in out-of-state matters, and I visit him at least once a week. And if you have any questions for him, I'd be more than happy to pass them on. He has not reached out to me yet back. But I recommend, yes, King Braveheart, I recommend that you guys Also contact the reporter and thank the reporter for being neutral. And if you want, you can mention that if he has questions for him, to reach out to me, and I'll confidentially relay any questions or answers. And if Chile wants them to be made public, then I'll relay them to the reporter. But yeah. It was a pretty fair story. Yeah, it was. It was King Braveheart. Hold on, let me put this up on the screen. And that's so rare nowadays. Like, you see like the frauditor guys like, oh, Michael Eline's a scumbag. He's trying to get followers and stuff because he supports Chile. And it's like, no, dude, it's just that like Chile and I have been hanging out and he got locked up and he's been promoting me on his channel. And then all those people that he told about me started reaching out to me. So that's the only reason I started really doing these live streams. But before, I was having pretty good luck. I mean, I got a $75,000 hit on Can Trump Win His Appeal? I have one for 88,000 hits for How to Become a Lawyer Without Law School from like 15 years ago. So yeah, I just was never really messing around on YouTube that much until Chile said, hey man, come on YouTube and check it out. So I did, but yeah, that it's honestly, guys, I do car accidents and stuff like that. I don't really do, I don't do like tons of civil rights cases unless it's like a tight handcuff case, stuff like that. My bread and butter is car accidents, truck accidents, but my passion is the Constitution and civil rights. And I really just love my country, and I love the Marine Corps more than anything. And so that's all, just so you know. I'm just looking for questions here, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Okay, guys. And I appreciate the super chat, Stu, because it gives me an excuse to tell my wife that it's not a waste of time. Because like all my detractors are saying, oh, you're just here because you're trying to promote your business. And it's like, dude, I do organic SEO. I'm a webmaster. So I used to do SEO for other companies and back in the day. And so I do organic SEO on, Google and YouTube, static, not video. So I've never gotten a case off of YouTube, and I doubt I ever will. I mean, it's not targeted enough. I mean, most of the people who watch me are back east or in Australia or something. And I'm licensed in Texas and in California. And I just do things like cruise ship accidents, car accidents, elder abuse, anything that involves somebody getting personally injured. A FedEx truck runs over your son or daughter in your parking lot or your driveway. I'm the guy you call because you know that I just will never give up, ever. It's not in me. And I won't settle. I'll go to trial if I have to. Most of the time they'll settle with me though, because you guys probably have already recognized this about me. I'm kind of crazy. Like, imagine being the insurance adjuster and having to deal with a dogmatic guy like me. I will never give up. I will never surrender. I will never stop. And that's probably what attracted me to Chile and the whole Team DLZ, because I have that same mentality. You don't quit ever. If you believe in something and you're convicted by your beliefs, you have no choice but to move forward and fight. So, all right, let me just see here. Age Go, what's going on with the gun dude? Okay. I'm not at liberty to really say anything about what's going on with Dick Heller. By the way, Dick Heller is a dear friend of mine. I've known him for years, and I just will have to speak to him before I'm at liberty to say anything about him. I have nothing to do with his deal with delete laws or Chile. I have zero financial interest in it. I have zero financial interest in anything to do with Chile or the Delete Laws channel. I am honest to God, I'm a patriot and I love my country. And even though I don't agree with Chile on everything and he doesn't agree with me on everything, I agree on the key salient things that matter. And I'm just grateful to God that you guys ended up being in my life. Oh my God, Ralph, thanks, bro. Well, so Ralph, I have people in my firm who can help, but me generally, copyright and trademark infringement, it's so tedious and time consuming. I know how to do it. I've done it before. And if you want to send me a case, I'll look at it and I'll tell you what I think. I won't charge you to dissect it. Everything will be confidential. And if it's a case that I think my firm can handle, I'll take it. And if it's not, we'll find someone. We'll try to find a home for it. But they're hard cases, brother. So it's something we're going to have to talk about over the phone. you can reach out to me through BZ Watchdog, and BZ Watchdog has my permission to give you my cell, and text. You text me though, because I'm going to be in conference for at least probably 2 or 3 weeks during the daytime. And thanks, BZ, for showing up, bro. I'm actually getting ready to go right now. I got to go. My family's kind of tripping on me. Tonight is Gunner's night. Tonight is Gunner's night to get his yellow belt, and he's super nervous. And in judo, it's not like other martial arts. You have to take an actual exam. You have to repeat Japanese words. I'm super proud of him though. I mean, his neck is thick now, and he's getting yoked like how his dad used to look, like a little wrestler. He's even getting a little bit of the cauliflower ears. So I had mine removed, but I had them really bad and used to take a syringe and pull it out. But yeah, man, I'm super happy for him. And yeah, thanks, Sammy. It's super awesome. I wish my dad was around to see this. But let me see here. Yeah, so BZ and Ralph talk to each other. Between me and a couple of my other buddies who are really good in trademark and copyright, at least I'll be able to let you know if I think it's a case that's worth pursuing. Now, guys, a lot of the cases that you guys want to bring are not worth pursuing for many reasons, but most of the reasons are because of the attitude, the cursing, causing a scene with the cops. It makes it really hard for a jury to want to give you money. So I want you all to follow me more and follow my channel and try to take advice and tidbits about being civil, because it's really important. The best way to get a cop pissed off, honestly, is to kill him with kindness, in my opinion. And we'll talk about that more in the future. Beck yeah, BZ. And give me a bunch of FCs to free Chili. I want to see a bunch of FCs before I go. Free Chili. Let him out. Free Chili Judge. Just let him go. You shouldn't be in there. It was a false arrest to begin with. Give me a bunch of ones if you are going to come and join me again when I come back on. The law of diminishing returns here. And yeah, free Chili. That's cool, man. And I'm going to go ahead and bug out. Yeah, free Chili. All right. All right. So that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because you never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And when I say save, I mean save it to your computer, like literally, like copy the video, onto your phone or whatever, because you never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And at some point, as I do become more popular, they will, because the things I'm saying go against the BlackRock agenda, the leftist woke agenda. They don't like that. So I'm all about families and joy and merit, working hard, less government and more freedom. So keep that in mind. And with that being said, Semper Fi, do or die.